Over here feels like appreciation. Over here feels like good things. Over there feels like bad things. In other words, we know it's sort of hard to understand that good feels good, but it really, really does. Good feels good. In other words, all things that you are wanting, as you are moving toward them, you feel a releasing of resistance. In other words, a feeling of relief means motion in the direction of what you're really going to like when you get there. Negative emotion means motion in the direction that you're really not going to like when you get there. Really, we're not kidding you about it, because it's all about this vibrational gap that you're closing, you see. I think you heard that clearly. We've written a book. We've offered endless processes. We feel sorry for any of you who's trying to do all of them. We are endless spewers of processes. And every process is for one intent. It is to help you close that vibrational gap between those 2 points of vibrational relativity, between where you are and where you want to be. Every one of them is about moving you up the emotional scale. The emotional scale, on one end of it are emotions that feel wonderful, like joy and love and appreciation, passion. On the other end are emotions that feel awful, like fear and despair. And on the end of the emotional scale that feels wonderful is your perception of freedom and empowerment. And on the end of the scale that feels rotten is your perception of lack of freedom and lack of empowerment. And every emotion along this emotional scale are about the varying degrees of your alignment with who you really are. We want you to notice the correlation. Here is your inner being, your source, your God, whatever you want to call that source energy. Here is that source energy, 1 point of vibrational relativity, and here you are somewhere in vibrational relationship to it. And the closer you are to it, the better you feel. And notice this emotional scale, where on one end of it is pure positive energy, and on the other end of it, it feels awful. And so, can you feel how as you move up the emotional scale, you are closing the vibrational gap between where you are standing and where you want to be? We want you to begin thinking in every moment about how you are feeling, because as you are commenting on something or remembering something or imagining something, you are forking off in the direction of something wanted or not wanted. It does not matter how much you forked in the direction of what you don't want. You're all still powerful in your now, and you can begin your new direction at any time. We think the reason that you do not consciously and deliberately and frankly, very effectively, immediately begin to fork in the direction of what you are wanting is because you're trying to make too big of vibrational jumps up the emotional scale. And law of attraction isn't helping you out. Law of attraction, the most powerful law in the universe, says that which is likened to itself is drawn. So if you're over here because of something that you've been living and you're feeling despair, and some bright-eyed, bushy-tailed student of Abraham says to you, you need to cheer up. You create your own reality. You want to say to them, that can't be true or you'd be gone, because nothing is worse than having somebody try to cheer you up when you don't feel cheerful. Somebody that's feeling wonderful cannot relate to someone who's feeling horrible. Your vibrational frequencies are too far apart, any more than you can set your radio dial on 6:30 a.m. and hear what's being broadcast on 98.7 FM. The frequencies have got to match up. So what we want you to understand is if something has happened and you're vibrating down here in despair or fear, don't try to jump into bliss or into appreciation. You'll just fall in the ditch. Instead, reach for the best feeling thought you can find. Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss, and we think his words were the best ever offered.